Usually, usually what happens, Ted, is there's usually like a pretext call, a pretext text that you receive on your cell phone, could be an email that you clicked on, and then you believe that you're talking to or communicating back and forth with a representative of your bank or your credit union when you're really not.
Well, how can I protect myself from something like that?
Just be very careful when you receive a text message or a phone call. Unfortunately, Ted, the fraudsters, they realize that banks, credit unions, credit card companies, they are reaching out to their customers, to their members to verify suspicious transactions. So they're going to pose as that person, but the key thing is they're going to ask you questions that your normal financial institution's not going to ask. And that could be as
Like
simple
what?
as what's your credit card number, the expiration date, the CVV number on the back, what's your login credentials. Those are questions that the real bank, real credit union, real credit card company will not ask you for.
Well, of course, because the real credit card company and bank already has that information.
That's correct. If they're calling you, they're just going to ask, hey, Mr. Meyerson, did you do a certain transaction at a certain store? It's a yes or no answer. What the fraudsters do is that they pose that question, but they know through what we call social engineering, they're getting the person excited. They're getting upset that, oh my God, somebody's stealing my money. So they keep asking them questions. They keep drawing out more information. The call lasts way longer than it should. And the member is, or the customer, I should say, is in that panic mode. They're not really thinking and going, why is this person asking me all these questions?
Who's most vulnerable for that?
It's anybody. I've had full range from, 20 years old to, elderly adults. It's all spur of the moment. It's all this caught off guard. They're not really thinking. I've had IT security people. I've had retired people. I've had, business professionals. They all fall for this scam, unfortunately.
Well, is the particular scam you're addressing taking over an individual account
Ted,
with a credit card, or does it expand beyond that with the information they have?
Usually they're going for your credit card or your debit card. That's what they're posing it. They'll call and say, hey, Mr. Meyerson, we see a suspicious transaction on your card. Generic. They don't tell you. Did you do a transaction, say, $1,500 at a store in Austin, Texas? They know you're going to say no. And then they just start going downhill from there. And then they'll say, for verification, can you tell me the last eight numbers of your card? They've already figured out that for your institution, the first eight numbers of that 16-digit number, that's what we call a BIN code. It's the number assigned to that institution. They already know what that number is. So they give that false impression that, well, I didn't give them the full number. I should be okay. That's not how it works all the time.
Well, if I were to get that call, and if
Mhm,
I were to give them the last 8 digits of my credit card number,
mhm.
is my is it gone? Can I get it back?
Usually, what will happen, again, like I said before, is you're giving out your card. It's three pieces that they need from you: your card number, your expiration date on the card, and then the CVV number off the back of the card. Once they have that, they'll usually tokenize it as a new way, as we call it, and roll it onto a Samsung, Android, iPhone. They don't need the old school like a lot of people think, well, they got to put it on a card. No, technology is wonderful where now I can use a lot of the apps to add that card information right onto the cell phone. Then I walk into the store, I do the tap and go, boom, the money's out of your account.
Is it recoverable?
Yes, you'll have to file a claim with your financial institution and say, hey, I did not authorize these transactions. And then, depending on your bank or credit union or credit card company, there might be a slight delay. Some places say 10 to 20 days before your funds are credited back into your account. That's their processing timeline.
How prevalent is this today?
It's gotten really bad. The FBI said last year there was a 300% increase in this type of scams where they're posing as the financial institution representative. They'll say they're from the quote fraud department. Uh, it's just very easy and it's very profitable, unfortunately.
We spoke about credit card companies, but this would affect uh, a bank as well, would it not?
Yes, because some of the people, believing they're talking to that representative from that institution, they're in this, I've had people tell me, Ted, that the conversation lasted 2 or 3 hours, which
Huh?
is probably 2.5, almost 3 hours, way too long. It should only be a 5 or 10 minute conversation. Yes or no. Okay, thank you. Block my card, reissue a new one. I'm done. They're data mining the victim. They're getting all that info. I've had people give out other credit card numbers for some reason. I've had them give out their online banking credentials. So then the person is now logging in as them and setting up ACH transfers, bill pays to other bank accounts to quickly drain the account.
Wow. Well, how do I report such a thing? What do I do or what does anybody do if they get that kind of call?
Yeah, if you get the call and it's going like I described, where they're asking a little bit too much info, just say, hey, I'm busy. I'm fixing dinner. Hey, I'm doing brain surgery, whatever. I can't talk to you right now. Hang up the call. Call your financial institution and make sure it was really them. The fraudsters, Ted, have gotten really good where they also spoof the phone number. So it looks like when your phone rings, it'll say, XYZ Bank, ABC Credit Union, whatever credit card company, Citibank, for example. So it already gets the person mentally thinking on that wrong path that, oh, it's my bank, it's my credit union, it's my credit card company. It's not. They fake the phone number to trick your cell phone into thinking, showing it's that institution, which makes you think it's got to be legit because my cell phone tells me it's a legit phone number.
Well, somebody told me that if you Google the institution, you can come up with a wrong phone number too.
Sometimes, if you're not careful, your Google hits aren't always 100% accurate. So that's why I always tell people call back your institution at the number you're familiar with. If you're not sure, pull out your credit card, pull out your debit card, look at the number printed on the back, Ted, call that number and say, hey, what's going on? I got this call about fraud on my account, on my credit line. What's really going on?
Wow. This has been very interesting, Robert. I'm glad we had this conversation.
No
I
problem.
hope every member of AARP and the public hears this interview because it's something everybody should know about.
Mhm.
Thank you for
Yeah.
having this conversation with me.
Thank you for inviting me to have this conversation, Ted. I really appreciate it. And I hope it does help the listeners prevent having a loss on their accounts.